Imagine walking back into the room where your future is supposed to be decided and being handed a choice that feels less like an offer and more like an exit sign. He went back to the Cowboys with empathy, he says. He wanted to talk, to extend a bridge. Instead, they gave him an ultimatum: play the 5th year of your rookie deal or leave. That's the kind of line that makes grown men in suits look small under bright lights. You could feel the shape of the moment before the words made it to the press. Negotiations had been a slow burn all summer. Back and forths, public posturing, probing from both sides. But when the player who terrorized offensive lines for 4 seasons shows up and tries to bring the conversation into a human place, you expect at least a meeting, a handshake, a compromise. An ultimatum is not negotiation. It's a deadline dressed as resolve. Picture Parsons in that room. Not shouting, not posture posting on social, but trying to explain, I want to stay, I want to help, I want a deal that's fair. And picture the Cowboys, led by the man who loves drama as much as he loves Dallas, Jerry Jones, laying down a boundary that read, in legal-sounding terms, as a moral one. Either accept the status quo of the rookie wage extension or find a new home. It's a clean line. It's also a brutal one. The fallout feels like a sports melodrama because it is. Within hours, Micah Parsons was traded to Green Bay. 2 first-round picks and veteran Kenny Clark came back to Dallas. Parsons landed a gargantuan deal in Wisconsin. Numbers were crunched, analysts graded the move, and fans cursed and cheered in equal measure. On the surface, it's a transaction. Underneath, it's a story about trust, power, and what a franchise values when it's willing to remove one of its brightest stars rather than bend. There are 2 ways to read that ultimatum. One is the cold, rational front office logic. The Cowboys couldn't justify the projection that Parsons' next contract would demand. A contract that, in the front office's calculus, would hamstring flexibility and remake the roster in ways they weren't ready to commit to. Draft capital and interior defensive help were more sustainable to Jones than what he saw as a potentially runaway payday for one player. That's tidy, spreadsheet-friendly reasoning. It's also the kind of decision football executives make when they think long-term. The other reading is about culture. Locker rooms are ecosystems where tone matters more than talent sometimes. There were whispers, podcasts that pricked egos, teammates reportedly annoyed at off-field comments, a sense that Parsons was playing at times more for the highlight than the system. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Zach Martin, the adhesive of that room, were reportedly more universally loved. Parsons allegedly didn't have that same glue. An ultimatum, from that angle, reads less like number clearing and more like image control. Either you choose the team's timeline or you step aside. Both readings are true at once. Business logic sits next to the human ledger. The Cowboys signed the trade because the sum of monetary forecast and team chemistry apparently tilted in favor of moving on. That doesn't make it simple or fair. It makes it consequential. Now imagine being Micah Parsons after that meeting. He's a player who said the last 4 months were the hardest of his life. He hadn't been away from the field this long since middle school. He's hungry, impatient, wired for the game. Being told, after trying to negotiate with empathy, that his options were a fixed contract or the door, well, you can see how that could break someone's patience like a snapped string. He called his agent. The market called back faster than he expected. Less than a day later, he was on a plane to Green Bay. For the Cowboys, the move was an admission. They traded an elite, disruptive force for draft stock and an inside piece that had helped the Packers defend the run. For fans, it was a gut punch. For a quarterback like Dak Prescott, who reportedly bristled at some of Parsons' public comments, it was probably relief mixed with loss. Losing game-changing talent, but keeping a room that might be easier to manage during the grind of a season. And for Green Bay, the trade was a declaration of intent. They handed Parsons a contract that screamed win now, put a historic number 1 on his back, and signaled to the league that they were willing to pay to alter the competitive map. If the Cowboys' ultimatum was about preserving options, the Packers' late-night wire transfers were about spending them. There is an important emotional truth in the middle of this mess. Ultimatums rarely make the people who receive them feel respected. Even when they make cold sense, they land like an accusation. That the person didn't play ball right, that patience was absent, that the relationship had broken down beyond repair. Respect is quiet and compound. It's built in small conversations and mutual adjustments. An ultimatum is loud and finite. It forces a decision before trust is rebuilt. Now fast forward a few weeks. The podcast takes on a new sheen. Analysts will grade the trade. Cowboys fans will divide between those who applaud financial prudence and those who mourn a lost star. Parsons will get to prove or not that the hardest 4 months made him better. And week 4 will give us the cinematic moment. Parsons returning to Arlington in a different helmet, possibly lining up across from the quarterback whose locker room complaints may have helped prompt the move. Expect words, expect glances, expect highlight clips that will be paused, replayed, and argued over for years. But underneath the spectacle, there's the quieter ledger no one tracks in box scores. How decisions like ultimatums ripple through lives. Young players watching will learn that negotiations can be public, swift, and unforgiving. Teammates will learn that culture can supersede talent in front offices' prints. Fans will relearn that franchises are built as much on temperament as they are on cap sheets. If you want to take one line from this and tuck it into an argument or your group chat tonight, make it this: an ultimatum closes a door, sometimes for good reason, sometimes for fear, but it rarely opens the kind of conversation that builds something new. Micah Parsons left Dallas not only because of numbers on a sheet, but because a choice was presented in a way that left no room for repair. Whether that was wisdom from the Cowboys or a lost chance to keep a generational talent is a question the next 3 seasons will answer. In the end, it's a messy human story disguised as a football transaction. A player wanting to stay, a team unwilling to meet him halfway, and a league that watches both the money and the moments. The helmets will change, the debates will rage, but the quiet cost of an ultimatum, the bridge that was never rebuilt, might be the most consequential part of all. Micah Parsons says he returned to the Cowboys this week about an extension with empathy. And according to NFL Network's Jane Slater, Dallas responded with an ultimatum: play out the 5th year of your rookie deal or leave. Jerry Jones confirmed the exchange took place but declined to detail the interaction. Hours later, Dallas granted Parsons' trade request, sending the 4-time Pro Bowler to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first-round picks and veteran defensive tackle Kenny Clark. Jones framed the move as a long-term roster decision. Parsons left with a massive new deal in Green Bay. The ultimatum report adds a combustible new element to a negotiation saga that already featured public back and forth, strained locker room chatter, and mounting frustration on both sides. For Dallas, the decision to draw a hard line, effectively choosing to walk away rather than extend, signals a prioritization of culture and cap control over keeping a top pass rusher at nearly any cost. For Parsons, the episode likely cements a narrative of impatience and friction that followed the star for months, even as he lands a fresh start and one of the league's richest non-QB contracts. Either way, the terse final offer and rapid trade mark a dramatic end to one of the offseason's most volatile storylines.